This is part of a ritual garment that was worn by a priest during ceremonies. Around the neck is Arabic art calligraphy woven into the cloth. Below the neckline, the 12 apostles are depicted in 2 rows enclosed in borders. The name of each is written in Arabic above his head. The lower part of the garment is decorated with fringes. The stole is a part of a ritual garment devoted to Christian denominations. It consists of a strip of cloth usually made of silk. Since the 6th century common, religious subjects from the Bible began to appear. The piece dates back to the period following the Arab conquest. Silk. The Greeks knew of the existence of the silkworm, which eats mulberry leaves and spins itself a cocoon, in which it metamorphoses into a moth. They also knew of the simple process of immersing the cocoons in hot water and unwinding their long silk thread and then joining several together and winding them on a spool. Greek production of silk was never so significant as the importing of silk thread and fabric from the Far East. It is said that Cleopatra's silk was all Chinese silk, and we must note that use of silk was limited during the Roman and the Byzantine periods due to its high price. A model boat that originally carried 8 sailors, 4 of whom are missing. The boat has no sail and the sailors were equipped with oars which were fixed in the holes made in their fists. The boat takes the shape of the head of a strange creature. For the models, the democratization of funerary beliefs and customs in the First Intermediate Period, 2181 to 2000 before century, inspired many less well-off Egyptians to create representations of their own daily environment which they believed would continue in the afterlife. Unable to afford the scenes carved and painted on the tomb walls of wealthier Egyptians, poorer individuals purchased models representing various aspects of the daily life and placed them in the tomb. The models included figures of household servants performing cooking tasks, farm laborers tending animals and crops, and men involved in manufacturing processes. These models were believed, just like wall scenes, to magically sustain the dead in their afterlife within the tomb, providing the food, drink, clothing, shelter that would be needed for continued existence. A collection of Ushabti statuettes made of faience. They are represented in mummified form, wearing a wig, and with their hands crossed at chest level. Inscriptions from the 6th chapter of the Egyptian Book of the Dead cover them all. Ushabti. The purpose of these statuettes was to serve the deceased in the afterlife. They first appeared in the Middle Kingdom, when only 1 or 2 of them were placed in the tomb to do various chores on behalf of the deceased. They were mummiform and made of various materials, such as stone, bronze, wood, clay, wax, or blue and green faience, the latter being the most common. Wooden anthropoid coffin of a man called Abba son of Angkor, ruler and treasurer of Upper Egypt. The coffin is fully decorated in the shape of a mummy resembling Osiris with the upturned ceremonial false beard and a wig. The eyes are inlaid with ivory and ebony. Iba wears a large multicolored necklace, and the sky goddess Nut appears on the chest area. The goddess Isis with widespread wings is portrayed on the feet, while the goddess Nephthys appears at the head. The three goddesses offer protection to the deceased. The coffin lid is also decorated with texts from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the base shows hieroglyphic inscriptions. Coffins. Bodies of the deceased in pre-dynastic Egypt were usually buried in coffins made of clay or inside baskets or wooden planks instead of being placed directly into the sand. As the sand made its way into these burial materials, it preserved the bodies from decaying. This led to the idea of mummifying bodies and placing them in several coffins in order to preserve them. Ginger is the oldest example of a mummified body and is currently in the British Museum. Block statue of a priest called Died Kunsu. Block statue of a priest called Died Kunsu Iou. Fang seated in a squatting position and holding in his hands symbols of power and wealth. 6 lines in relief cover the statue with the names and titles of the owner and his ancestors and prayers to the gods, and the back of the statue is also covered with hieroglyphic inscriptions. The priest wears a wig and appears serene. The base of the statue is covered with inscription offerings to the god Amun-Ra. The statue was discovered in the Karnak cache. The block statue. The first examples of block statues date back to the Middle Kingdom. They continued to exist until the late Egyptian period. The massive form of the statues protected them from breakage. In addition, it offered a large surface for inscriptions. Some of these statues have simple offering verses or record an idealized version of the person portrayed, emphasizing his greatest virtues. Placing a similar statue of oneself within the temple was naturally a privilege reserved above all to those who performed some service directly for the god, namely priests.